The Volkswagen e-Crafter, the new Crafter generation, but electrified. This is today an Autogefühl here from our special IAA coverage from the IAA commercial vehicles. What is special about this vehicle? Well, in general, we have to think about pollution inside our cities, and that's not only from passenger cars, but also from, for example, short delivery cars. And on long-term run, I mean, you still at the moment need the diesel engines when maybe a transporter with heavy load goes from one point of the country to just from north to south or something like that. But when you have those short-term deliveries, for example, for e-commerce business, then you often have range for 60 to 100 kilometers a day, and that might be suitable for the e-Crafter. So let's dig into the details here. The front of the e-Crafter, first of all, features this new Crafter generation front. If you are interested in the all-new Crafter in general, there's also a review to that on Autogefühl from the world premiere. Horizontal fins, and here special for the E-version, fitting to the exterior color as well. Here this blue stripe and also those C-shape LED daytime running lights, as we also know, for example, from the e-Golf, from the passenger VW segment. And this also says something about the technology inside, because indeed they could share technologies, for example, as for the use of batteries. As the batteries are placed in the underfloor compartment, there's no real compromise as for the loading capacity. Yes, there's a little bit additional weight, but as soon as you can reach this range of 200 kilometers a day or with one load, that will be perfectly fine for all the customers that potentially could use this vehicle. So, and let's get inside, because this is, the most important thing for this vehicle. It also has a loading volume of about 11 cubic meters and payload of 1,700 kilo. And most of the time today, it's more about the volume, not necessarily about the weight, at least if you think about e-commerce distribution of packages, shoes, electronics, whatever. And if we get inside, this one is here also will later on be available in different versions. This one here is the height as I could also stand in here, so I think that should be 195, 6'3", something like that. Also illuminated with a lot of lights, and there will be a lot of space for all the stuff you want to put in here. For the boxes, for example, you can flip down those then and put some boxes in here and have an easy access to the car. And again, a very solid floor on the ground here. And well, it does not have to be the use just for delivering packages. There are also different other using forms available. For example, with a generator here, or maybe tools with wireless charging. You can have them right here. See if we can put some out. So you can see how well they fit in there. So a lot of flexibility even here. Those ones here you can put up to have more storage room there. This is just, again, one small example what you can do with this vehicle. But I think the biggest, use will really be these deliveries where you just have the packages and then, for example, put them here on the cupboards right there. And just to mention, from the rear, you have the doors open in a split level, and that's, for example, also very important if you want to load, for example, a Euro pallet just right in here. Then it's always important to have those split doors. And here that was missing, here to fold them here down. Oh, there it is. And then you can put, it's really light material, by the way, but at the same time very durable and also scratch resistant. And now to the cockpit, a lot of storage spaces, 1, 2, 3, alone on the inside of the doors. And special here for this E version, you also got fitting blue cloth seats. I really like that. Also the exterior is mirrored by the interior design, and I mean, why not? Also here, the back of the automatic gearbox, the shifting lever has also blue contrast stitches. So, I mean, why not doing it here in a concept vehicle? But it's not only a concept vehicle, so we already heard that you can buy this vehicle starting from maybe mid-2017 will be delivered the first vehicle to the customer. So it's a really very close to reality concept. Let's take it that way. You can, by the way, also put up those seats here. Very interesting for the crafter in general, always to have some more space below the seat. So a lot of flexibility here again, then more storage spaces here. It's closed at the moment, but on the top here, for example, also for a measuring stick. Then more storage space on the top right there. Also there 12-volt power supply and USB and aux input is right there. Solid materials for the dashboard. And here in this e-Craft we have the biggest GPS mounted, also with this proximity sensor here in the rear. And this will also feature a special view for the energy flow. And here we can also see in this visualization where the actual battery will be placed. And the camera is not available at the moment, but there will also be a camera. And for example, you can also connect phone via Bluetooth here. And App Connect will also be available that you can use Android Auto, Apple CarPlay or MirrorLink. So that might also be a nice feature for the driver listening to music while delivering packages in a very silent way on the outside, but maybe with good music on the inside. And the instruments will also feature special here on the left part when you will be in this charging area that you can see when the car is recuperating. And also when we look at the steering wheel, we have blue contrast stitches on the inside, again fitting to the exterior. And the car is getting cleaned on the exterior again. It's always happening at the motor shows here. So a very nice interior, my favorite crafter interior so far, I have to say. With Harald Ludernick, Head of Research and Development, we recently talked about the all-new Crafter in general. Today it's about the e-Crafter. Of course we want to know, what was it in the development? Could you directly plan the e-Crafter with the all-new model? Was this your overall intention?
I think even in this time you have to accept the theme of the electric driven vehicles in the future. So it is natural that we have to offer a crafter with an electrical drive powertrain. And for that we find a good solution in the Volkswagen Group with the existing battery cells and with the existing modules to realize in a short time this concept car. And I can promise, as we also said today, in 2017 we will have the first vehicles and the customers use. We will also develop in a very short time for the series production.
From a building perspective, what are the advantages and maybe the disadvantages when developing such a vehicle and also when building it? How much different is it from a normal vehicle in the production process?
I think first of all you have to train your colleagues because you have to handle electricity in the batteries, and you must know how to accept the safety requirements for electrical batteries, and this is a training concept you have to do. Secondly, difficult it is, you have additional weight in the concept for the battery, and the challenge is to balance it out, the weight and the distance you can drive with the capacity of the battery. As more capacity you will have, you increase the weight, less distance you will have, lower capacity, lower distance, but less weight. So how to balance it out and to find the optimum.
And which balance did you find to be the optimum?
I think we find out that 40 kilowatt hours, around 40 kilowatt hours today in the concept vehicle, we have 43 kilowatt hours. And with a distance, driving distance, about 206 kilometers, you will have an optimum, absolute.
From a customer perspective then, who would maybe exactly pick that vehicle, and how will it maybe also pay off? So what could you think about there?
I think the application or the customer will be the delivery services in the cities. And as I said, the internet orderings are increasing dramatically, so you have to deliver to the households and directly to the persons, so you will have an increase. And the city is looking to have a local emission-free and very silent delivery service in the city to increase living standards. And for this delivery service, I think it would fit very well. And for that, when you ask me about is there an economical effect, you can calculate by yourself. Today you pay 20 cents per kilowatt hour from the power supplier, and you have a consumption about 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer. And when you compare this with fuel prices, I think you can recognize that there is a payoff. And I think in the perspective of 3 years, you will have a payback, 3-4 years.
As a fleet manager, I'm also interested, what about the charging of the vehicles? How does that work? And is it really as easy as I would be a fleet manager just controlling my normal petrol or diesel fleet?
First of all, I think we have two options for charging. We have one option with direct current, and with that, with 40 kilowatt power charging, you will have a recharge battery in 45 minutes. And in the worst case, when you have a classical household application with 60 amperes, then you will have a recharge in 4 hours. So you can choose it. And the handling is very easy and very safe. This is something we have to take care about that.
So thank you very much for the insight. And I really think that especially those vehicles, more maybe than the normal passenger cars, have the potential to reduce the emissions inside a city, and that's of course where the most people breathe air together. Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles CEO Eckhard Scholz will now give us some prospect on the future on the e-mobility in general, because behind us we got the new e-Crafter, and these days the colleagues of Volkswagen Passenger Cars invited us to the e-mobility production, and we say, oh, there was a lot of going on there and new focus on e-mobility. And obviously, it's the same case here at Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles, or what's the step ahead?
What we see is that there are a lot of customer groups for which electrical cars are a good opportunity, especially the cab transportation. The city delivery situation is the optimal use case for electrical cars. The customers knows how wide the range is they have to fulfill. The customers can load up the light commercial at night. So that is perfect for electrical cars. And you have a flat bottom, and that's good for the batteries. That's different to the passenger cars. Here is the structure for the battery, much more perfect. So, I mean, good opportunities for an electrical car, and hopefully the customers will join our opportunity, and next year they will pay and sell the car.
Yeah, I could very well imagine that the corporation, for example, says, okay, we also want to do something for our image and say, we go for a clean mobility with all our fleet. And can you give us, some hints of what the cost might be? Because total cost of ownership is a big topic for you in the whole corporation and for the customers. Can you tell us something about, when I'm a customer now and I think about getting the e-Crafter?
For us, it's at least it's for us a business. Also, the electric car, and the cost for an electric car in the next few years are a little bit higher. That's real. But On the other hand, the total cost of ownership, the cost of driving the car are less than cars with an engine. So maybe in a few years it makes sense also on the financial side. But it takes time, and we have to reduce at the end the cost of the battery system. Maybe it makes sense to do also a little bit more from the government side to bring more power into this electrical segment. At the end, when you look in the electric car business, not a lot of producers make money with an electrical car. Also, the well-named groups, they lose money with an electric car. And for us, it's important at the end to make money with such a car, to improve the business of our customers. And therefore, we have to take further steps. That's clear for us. But we are sure it's the right direction. And maybe we see the high volume in electrical cars first in light commercial segments. And I'm optimistic. And e-Crafter, it's a clear signal from Volkswagen Commercial, and it's for our commercial customers.
And maybe as a last question, what about other vehicles in your lineup? Are there any plans maybe for the future also, say a T6 plug-in hybrid, or there are, I mean, a lot of things to think about. Do you have anything in mind?
Our first step was the e-load up. Second, the Crafter, the smallest and the biggest cars, and all the rest is following, but step by step.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So now to the conclusion, when we look at the rear of this vehicle, the e-Crafter is surely one of the most important future vehicles in our cities, I think, because especially those small, medium-sized transporters, they also account for a lot of pollution inside the cities, and this can be reduced, especially on the runs where you don't need so much range on a daily basis. So I think this is a really promising concept, especially because e-commerce is even more increasing, and then you can deliver even more goods in a also eco-friendly way. Of course, the energy has to be produced somewhere, that's for sure, but at least you can get out the emissions, get the emissions out the city. And I think that's a very important factor for the people that are living in the city, and also just for the noise reduction. If I think about, maybe in a roundabout or some in some villages, just when it doesn't make any noise at all, and maximum speed will be 80 kilometers an hour anyway, so it's really meant for the city driving. So this will really help people living close by, and also especially those that also receive the goods. So this is really a vehicle that can improve the quality of life, not only for people driving it. Thank you very much for watching this Autogefühl episode. I hope you liked the insight. Of course, we're open for the discussion on this very topic and on this very vehicle in our comment section below. Thanks.